The key was heavy brass, stamped with a 7, and it fit perfectly in the lock of a room that was not Lena's. She stood in the doorway for 3 full seconds before her brain caught up with her hand. The room was identical to her booking confirmation: terracotta tiles, a white linen coverlet, citrus trees pressing their waxy leaves against the window glass. A camera bag sat open on the bed. A pair of worn canvas shoes rested by the chair. Someone had already arranged their world in here, and she had just walked into it. She stepped back into the corridor exactly as the man appeared at the far end of it, wet from the pool, towel slung over one shoulder, squinting at her with something between amusement and curiosity.
Room 7?
He said. I was given the wrong key, Lena said. Obviously. I'm leaving.
You've got the look.
Excuse me?
Like you're already composing the complaint.
He stopped a few feet away and tilted his head. His eyes were dark, unhurried, the kind of eyes that didn't rush to fill silence.
I'm Matteo. I think they put me in your room too.
Lena looked at her confirmation printout. She had printed it, yes, because her phone battery had died on the bus, and then at the brass 7 in her palm. Her room was supposed to be 11. She had specifically requested 11 because the booking notes said it faced east and caught the morning light, and she had a sunrise itinerary that started at 6:45. This is a problem, she said.
Or a story.
Matteo said. The front desk sorted it within 20 minutes. A clerical error, 2 keys cut for 7, the real room 11 still locked and waiting. The young woman at the desk was deeply apologetic and offered them each a complimentary courtyard dinner. Lena accepted because it was the efficient thing to do. Matteo accepted, she suspected, because he had already decided the evening was going to be interesting. Her actual room was everything the notes had promised. She unpacked her toiletries in the order she always did, charged her phone, and pulled up her itinerary. The old market at 9 tomorrow, the cathedral at 11, the Lemon Grove hike. She'd read about it in 3 separate guides at 2. She had accounted for delays. She had built in buffer time. She had come here alone to prove that she could do this, enjoy something, without needing another person to make it feel real. She sat on the edge of the bed for a moment, looking at the citrus tree shadow moving on the white wall, and felt the silence of the room settle around her like a question she hadn't asked. The courtyard had string lights overhead and a low fountain that smelled faintly of minerals. Matteo was already there when Lena arrived, camera on the table beside his wine glass, studying the menu with the same quality of attention he'd turned on her in the corridor. Focused but relaxed, like the world was offering him things worth noticing. You carry that everywhere? Lena nodded at the camera.
I try not to miss things.
He said.
You carry a printed itinerary everywhere.
It's efficient.
It's armor.
She looked at him. He looked back, not unkindly, and lifted his wine glass.
I'll stop if you want.
He said.
But you looked at that paper 3 times since you sat down.
I was checking the dinner time against the market hours for tomorrow.
The market opens at 8. I asked the woman at the fountain.
Lena put the paper away. The food arrived. Grilled fish, iced lemon water, tomatoes still warm from somewhere nearby. They talked about the town. Matteo had come to photograph the old agricultural roads, the light through fig trees, the women selling dried herbs in paper cones. He talked about composition the way Lena thought about logistics, as a problem that rewarded precision. She found herself leaning forward without noticing. What do you actually want from this trip? He asked. The question landed gently, but it landed hard. She reached for her water glass. To enjoy it, she said.
You keep saying that like it's a performance review.
I'm a project manager. Everything sounds like a performance review. She said it lightly, but she heard the truth in it too. I planned this whole trip alone on purpose. I wanted to see if I could actually be somewhere without needing it to be more.
Needing what to be more?
The moment, she said quietly. The place. Me. In it. Matteo was quiet for a moment. Across the courtyard, one of the string lights blinked. Then the whole grid went out. The power outage took the music, the kitchen, and the overhead lights in one clean pull. The courtyard held its breath. Then someone brought candles. 3 of them appeared on their table, squat and white in clay holders, and the darkness arranged itself into something warmer and more honest than the strung lights had managed. Lena looked down at where her itinerary would have been and felt, with sudden clarity, that she had no idea what came next. Her phone still had no signal. The front desk was lit by a single lamp. The fountain was still running, somewhere in the dark, that low mineral murmur. Matteo lifted the camera. "Don't," she said.
Already did.
He said. He turned the screen toward her. She was looking down, one hand resting on the table, the candlelight making something soft of her jaw and shoulders. She wasn't performing anything. She wasn't checking anything. She looked, for the first time in a photograph she could remember, like someone who was simply there. Her throat tightened. "That doesn't look like me," she said.
It looks exactly like you.
Matteo said.
When you stop trying.
She could have deflected. She was good at deflecting. She had a whole system. Reframe the compliment, return to logistics, find the next task on the list. But the list was in her room, and the room was 50 meters away, and the candles were warm, and Matteo was watching her with the kind of patience she usually only trusted in people who had already left. "Show me the others," she said. He did. The market at the edge of town, the shadows long and cool, a cat asleep on a doorstep so orange it looked painted, the fig trees he'd described, light broken into gold coins on the road beneath them, and there, between the fig trees and a shot of a rusted gate, one of her, at the fountain earlier that afternoon, before she'd seen him, before she'd known anyone was watching. She was touching the water with 2 fingers, and her face was turned up toward the light, like she was listening for something. "You took that before we met," she said.
You were interesting.
He said simply. The candle between them burned low and even. The fountain kept its murmur. Lena felt the evening settle into her chest, not the itinerary version of the evening, not the solo travel proof version, but the real one, warm and unscheduled and good. She kissed him first, which surprised them both. It was not cautious. It tasted like lemon water and a decision she'd been deferring since the corridor. His hand came up to her face and she let it, and the courtyard dark held them like it had been waiting. The power came back just before midnight, too bright and sudden. They both laughed, blinking in the flood of it, and Matteo covered the camera lens on instinct. Lena pressed her fingers to her lips and looked at the table, the empty glasses, the gutted candles. "I have a 6:45 sunrise itinerary," she said.
I know the best spot for it.
He said.
It's not in the guides.
"Of course it isn't." He walked her to her door, room 11, the east-facing one, the linen curtains just visible through the gap. At the threshold she turned, the brass key in her hand, and looked at him in the corridor light. "Stay," she said. Not a question, not a performance, just the word, chosen and clean. The linen was cool at first and then not. The citrus trees moved against the window. Somewhere in the town, a dog barked once and went quiet, and the night outside was the specific dark of a place that is old and unhurried and entirely indifferent to anyone's plans. Lena lay awake after, not from anxiety, that was the thing, that was the difference, but from the clean, strange feeling of being exactly where she was. Matteo slept with one arm loose across the pillow, his breath slow, his camera on the nightstand like a kept promise. She had not planned this. That was all she could think. She had not planned any of this, and here she was, and the room was warm and the curtains moved and nothing was wrong. Morning came in gold, the way the booking notes had promised. Terracotta tiles, east-facing light, the smell of coffee drifting up from somewhere below. Lena sat on the edge of the bed with her phone and pulled up her return flight. 3 days from now. She looked at it for a long moment, then navigated to the airline's change page. Her thumbs moved before she could make a case for restraint. 6 days from now. She set the phone down and looked up. Matteo was already dressed, standing in the doorway with 2 small cups of iced coffee from the courtyard cart, the sun behind him making the whole frame look like one of his photographs. He was watching her with that unhurried attention, and he held both cups up slightly, and she could see from the tilt of his mouth that he'd been waiting to see what she would do.
The spot I mentioned.
He said.
We've still got the light.
"I pushed my flight," she said. He crossed the room and sat beside her and handed her the coffee. It was cold and bitter and sharp with citrus, and the tiles were warm underfoot, and outside the window the town was beginning its morning in the ordinary, irreplaceable way that places do when you are lucky enough to still be in them.
How many days?
He asked. 3 more, she said. Unscheduled. Matteo smiled, not the easy, charming smile she imagined he could produce on demand, but the real one, quieter, landing in his eyes first.
Good.
He said. She drank her coffee. He lifted the camera, looked at her, and then set it back down without taking the shot. Some things she was starting to understand. You just let happen.